can't reason with evil. Evil wants what it wants and won't stop until it's won or you kill it.
I know what to do.
Oh, this is gonna be fun. It's been pretty fun so far.
The final season of Yellowstone is on the horizon, and anticipation is reaching fever pitch. But before we witness the final fate of the Dutton dynasty, the cast has been dropping hints like breadcrumbs, teasing what's to come. From cryptic comments about shocking twists to emotional reflections on their characters' journeys, we've gathered every clue. Let's see what we can expect from this epic showdown. Get ready, because we're about to dive deep into the cast's predictions for the final season of Yellowstone. Let's start this with Grimes. Okay. So Luke Grimes, aka Case Dutton himself, is really hyping up the Yellowstone finale. He told the media recently that he couldn't be happier with how the show ends, calling it a perfect ending for every single character. Now, that's a pretty bold statement. It definitely makes you think what kind of perfect we're talking about here. Grimes also made sure to praise Taylor Sheridan's writing, calling the finale profound and beautiful. It sounds like Sheridan really pulled out all the stops for this one. Grimes' enthusiasm feels like a subtle hint to viewers, a reassurance that even though the show is ending, it's ending the way that honors the characters and their journeys. And honestly, that's all we can really ask for after what happened with John. Then there's Jamie. So Wes Bentley, the guy who plays everyone's favorite tortured soul, Jamie Dutton, has some interesting feelings about Yellowstone ending. He's been pretty open about how playing Jamie wasn't exactly a walk in the park, even telling the news that it actually messed with his mental health a bit. So it's not surprising that he's got mixed emotions about saying goodbye to the character. In an interview, he called Jamie a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's gotta be satisfying for an actor to sink their teeth into a role as complex and emotionally charged as Jamie. But on the other hand, that kind of intensity can definitely take its toll. Bentley said, "I'm excited to let him go, but I'm also sad to let him go." And honestly, that's so relatable. And while these guys talked about their journeys, Beth Dutton gave us some insider info on the show. Kelly Reilly, the one and only Beth Dutton, dropped some serious truth in an interview. She revealed that, in Taylor Sheridan's mind, Yellowstone was always intended to be a 5-season story. It makes you think, doesn't it? According to Reilly, the show's unexpected and massive success is what led the network and everyone involved to push for more episodes, more seasons, more Dutton drama. They wanted to keep the golden goose laying, which is understandable. But then, the double whammy of the SAG-AFTRA and writers' strikes threw everything into chaos, and the trajectory of the show changed yet again. Reilly describes it as fate stepping in. She says that because of the strikes, they ended up concluding this chapter of Yellowstone in the way Sheridan had originally envisioned a 5-season arc. "We gotta finish something, rather than draw something out or prolong it," she explained. It's a fascinating perspective, and it makes you reevaluate the whole situation. Maybe this ending, even though it might feel sudden or even a little unsatisfying to some fans, is actually the ending we were always supposed to get. And while all of this is going on, fans are still curious if there's any chance Kevin Costner will come back for the finale. And while all of this was fun to know, it was Christina Voros, the executive producer of the show, who gave us the real info. Christina Voros about the show's loose ends. One of the biggest mysteries for Yellowstone fans has been the whole situation with Jamie's son and the kid's mom, Christina. We haven't seen much of them, and people have been wondering what their deal is and what role they'll play in the final season. So, naturally, someone asked executive producer Christina Voros about Jamie's involvement as a father, hoping to get some details. And her answer was pretty revealing, if a little cryptic. Voros explained that the way Taylor Sheridan writes Yellowstone is very organic. He doesn't have some grand, pre-planned storyline mapped out from the beginning. Instead, she says the stories emerge from the characters themselves as he's writing. It's a more intuitive process, which is pretty interesting. It's not something that has been strategically plotted out on Excel spreadsheets from the beginning, Voros revealed, which is a real question on how much even she knows about what's going to happen. So, even though we see Jamie reconnecting with his son and Christina, Voros emphasized that this season isn't primarily about Jamie as a father. It's about him as a son. It suggests that while the fatherhood aspect might be touched upon, explored a little bit, it won't be the main focus of Jamie's arc in these final episodes. Instead, his complicated and often volatile relationship with John, and the fallout from John's death, will likely take center stage. That's where the real drama lies, and that's what's going to drive Jamie's story forward. The interviewer also asked Christina Voros about Jamie's comeback in the last episode. Like, how does he go from being totally screwed to suddenly having a fighting chance? They pointed out that it's another woman in Jamie's life, Christina, who gives him the push he needs with that killer political speech. We all thought Jamie was done for, so what gives? Voros explained that Jamie's usually the smartest guy in any given situation, and he survived this long thanks to the women around him. They're the ones who have his back, even when he's doubting himself. But the real key, according to Voros, is that Jamie's a master talker. He's amazing at spinning things, at making people believe what he wants them to believe. He's always been good at spinning that web, she said. So, basically, he took Christina's pep talk and turned it into this whole elaborate plan. He's using his words to dig himself out of a hole, which is a classic Jamie move. It makes you wonder what kind of web he's going to spin in the finale. The interviewer brought up how Luke Grimes was apparently a mess after reading the final script, and how it helped him get back into Case's headspace after the long break between filming. They also mentioned Kelly Reilly teasing a scene that explains the entire series, a scene that doesn't even involve Beth and Rip. With all that in mind, the interviewer asked Christina Voros the same question they'd asked her before. When she first read the finale, did she see it coming? Voros admitted that she was totally surprised. She said that the ending of a great story should be both surprising and inevitable, but you only realize it was inevitable once you've reached the end. Looking back, it all makes sense, but looking forward, you'd never have guessed. She believes Taylor Sheridan nailed that balance with the Yellowstone finale. Voros even confessed that the script took her breath away, and she's been with the show since season 1. She knows the characters, the creator, the story inside and out, and she still didn't see it coming. Can we expect a happy ending? The interviewer brought up a really interesting point about Case telling Beth and Monica they need to give the ranch away in order to save it. They connected this to a scene in 1883 where James Dutton is told by a Native American tribal leader that they'll return in 7 generations to reclaim the land. This led to speculation that the Yellowstone finale might involve giving the ranch back to the Native American tribes, which, let's be honest, would be a pretty unexpected happy ending for a show like this. Christina Voros' response was, as usual, pretty measured. She laughed and pointed out that Yellowstone isn't exactly known for its happy endings. But she also acknowledged that Taylor Sheridan has turned Yellowstone into this sprawling, intergenerational show, which adds a lot of complexity and depth to the story. She hinted that there are so many interconnected threads between the different shows, 1883, 1923, and Yellowstone, that it's hard to say for sure what any given clue might mean. Basically, she's saying don't read too much into the give it away line. Kevin Costner's potential return? Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Kevin Costner's exit from Yellowstone. It was a huge bombshell when he announced in a social media video back in June that he wouldn't be returning for the rest of season 5. This came after a long period of working on his own Western horizon, and he basically blamed scheduling conflicts and production delays in an interview. He said all the back and forth with Yellowstone was messing with his Horizon commitments. It's a bummer, because let's be honest, John Dutton was Yellowstone. He was the anchor of the whole show. Costner essentially said he had tried to come up with an amicable solution, offering up his time to finish out his arc before he was committed to shoot Horizon, an American saga. He said he was even willing to come in to film John Dutton's death scene, if it needed to come to that. According to Costner, I said, well, if you want to kill me, if you want to do something like that, I said, I have a week before I start shooting Horizon. I'll do what you want to do. But Paramount and Sheridan didn't take him up on his offer. Costner also bemoaned how he was portrayed in the media, with some outlets saying he was only willing to give the show a week of his time, when he feels it was the delays in production and scripts that left him feeling stuck while his passion project waited in the wings. So he moved forward on Horizon. "What am I supposed to do? I'm just not a dog that waits in a driveway not knowing when the person's going to come home," he said. "I want to know, and I also understood that their universe was really big. So I just decided not to sit in the driveway, but to be busy myself and be available when I could. It didn't end up happening." So, there you have it, Yellowstone fans. Straight from the cast and crew, we've gathered all the hints, teases, and insights about the final season. While some things remain shrouded in mystery, one thing is clear. The end of the Dutton show promises to be both shocking and inevitable. Are you ready to see how it all ends? Let us know your predictions in the comments below.